Guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are doing another book haul. It's been a hot minute. I've had these books sitting here waiting for me to show you. And I still have another pile of books back there for another book haul. Do I have a problem? Maybe. Now I know what you're thinking right now. Cassey, why are you wearing a sweatshirt in the middle of summer? What? Well, let me tell you. My husband keeps the house so stinking cold. We have two ACs downstairs. We have the one in the kitchen and one in the living room. They're both 12,000 BCUs. He has them running constantly. And we have one up in our room and one in the guest room. We keep the one in the guest room off until we actually, have guests over. We just keep that door shut. But the one in our room is constantly on. And if I shut any of them off for any significant amount of time, he's not happy. So I freeze and I just wear sweatshirts. Whatever. So let's just hop into the haul. I'm already 2 minutes into the video and this is gonna be long. So the first book I got is Message in a Bottle by Nicholas Sparks. You guys know I love Nicholas Sparks. Any book by him I buy. So basically, it's about this woman named Teresa who is divorced and, disillusioned is what it says. I'm assuming, she doesn't believe in love and blah, 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 blah. And that all changes when she finds a bottle on the beach with a mysterious love letter on the inside. Kind of corny, but I'm into it. So the next book we have is The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, complete and unabridged by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I'm so excited about this, guys. I'm so excited. I've been hearing about The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes ever since I was a kid. And then I saw this at, I want to say Goodwill. I know Message in a Bottle was Goodwill. I want to say this was Goodwill as well. And I had to pick it up. It had to happen. So, now, this book I'm beyond excited about. I've been looking for this book for months, okay? It's by Stephen King. I heard books by Emily Fox talk about this, and she thought it was really good with the exception of one scene. She kind of spoiled that scene for me, but that's okay. One of my friends, Chris, he is a very big Stephen King fan. So when I asked him about it, he did recommend it. He's very honest about what Stephen King books to read and which ones not to read. And he did highly recommend this one. So I'm excited. It's not the cover that I wanted. I was really hoping for the white covered one. But that's okay. I found this at Goodwill for $5. And let's be honest, I was not going to beat that price. So I'm very happy I got it. If you don't know the story of it, actually, let me continue holding up the book. It's basically about a killer clown. Legitimately. Yeah. It's about a killer clown that's trying to kill a bunch of kids in Derry, Maine. Love it. All right. My next book is Cell by Stephen King, And I'm basically trying to collect all of the Stephen King books. I'm not even positive what this one is about. Oh, it's basically an apocalypse book that began with the ring of a cell phone. Okay. So that's kind of cool. I really love this cover though. Like, look at that. Now, I prefer paperbacks, and they had the paperback and the hardcover at Goodwill for the same exact price, so I got the paperback. And I thought, yay, more Stephen King. More Stephen King. I got the Tommyknockers. Again, have never heard of this. I'm just trying to collect Stephen King. I love that everything is like in the New England range with the exception of The Shining. Like there's Derry, Maine. This one is in Boston. Yep. And this one is in Haven, Maine. Like, what? I'm enjoying that. Anyway. The back of this one says something was happening in Bobby Anderson's idyllic small town in Haven, Maine, something that gave every man, woman, and child in town powers far beyond ordinary mortals. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Something that turned the town into a death trap for all outsiders, something that came from a metal object buried for millennia that Bobby accidentally stumbled across. It wasn't that Bobby and the other good people of Haven had sold their souls to reap the rewards of the most deadly evil that side of hell. It was more like a diabolical takeover, an invasion of body, soul, and mind. Ooh. That sounds so creepy. I'm so excited. So really excited to read this. She dick. Okay. She is, oh geez. She is 737 pages, and the print is not that big. So, it's another Stephen King book. I think this may be the last one. Don't quote me on that. And it's The Stand by Stephen King. I heard that this is his best book. This one was actually given to me by that friend, Chris. And I love that it's a floppy paperback. And this is the complete and uncut edition. There is a version of The Stand that has like a chapter taken out or something like that. And it has all of the book in it. So I'm really excited about that. I was nervous about finding the wrong copy, if that makes sense. So when he gave it to me, I was like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, very excited about that. At the library, actually no, these were Goodwills too. I got two classics. This one is A Midsummer's Night Dream by Shakespeare. This is literally my favorite play by Shakespeare. Bite me. I'm not saying it's the best one by him. Romeo and Juliet and Macbeth are a good tie on that one. It's just my favorite. So I'm so happy to have my own copy of it. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm excited. Sorry, I'm still trying to wake up here. Anyway, and then I also have Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I've actually never read anything by Jane Austen. So yeah. Figured I would give it a start now. Basically, it's about both of them falling in love with people that aren't right for them, And yeah. In neither sense nor sensibility can stop it. I'm so tired. I probably shouldn't be filming right now. But that's okay. The next book I have is The Catcher in the Rye. I never actually read this in high school. Like most people, I actually have no clue what it's about. But knowing that everybody, because there's like no description anywhere on the book, but knowing that everybody read it in high school, it made me want to read it because I feel left out. So I'm going to read that one. The next book I have is Justice for Sarah by Erica Spindler. It's about a girl named Catherine McCall who wakes up one morning and finds her sister Sarah viciously murdered. And she was named the prime suspect. But when she was found innocent, not a lot of people agreed with that, so she went into hiding, and yeah. When she finally moved on, 10 years later, she got a letter asking what about justice for Sarah, and that kind of restarts the whole thing. So, kind of a murder mystery. I'm kind of into it. So, then we have another classic. It's Charles Dickens by Oliver Twist. Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. Wow. I'm very excited to read this. It's obviously about the story of the orphan Oliver who runs away from the workhouse, only to be taken by a den of thieves. And when this book was first published, it shocked a ton of readers. And for the longest time, people read it in school. I know when I was in high school, my class didn't read this. I don't recall if any other classes in my school read this, but I really wanted to read this. I want to read all of the classics. I am just a huge classics fan. Speaking of classics, ooh, I'm dropping it. We have another one, and it is Gone with the Wind. I thought those other books were thick. This is thick, okay? This is, give me a second, 1,448 pages long. This is going to take me like a month. Literally, when I do my TBR for whatever month I'm reading this is going to be the only book. Because it's probably going to be the only book I can read. Like what? Again, I don't know much about Gone with the Wind other than it's about about a time during the Civil War. I kind of like going into my books not knowing a lot about them, but I know that it's a classic. There's a movie on it. I want to read the movie after I read the book. I want to watch the movie after I read the book. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. That one, I also got a Goodwill. Another Goodwill find is Ice Trap by Kitty Sewell. It's about a surgeon whose life is about to be blown apart by some shocking news that he gets. And he's basically told that he fathered twins in Canada 15 years before. And yeah, it's kind of all about that. So I don't know if I like that one, but I don't know. The packaging on it, can you tell? I do makeup videos too. The cover on it just kind of drew me in. Have any of you had books like that where the cover just kind of drew you in and nothing else? Happens to me quite often. I have another Gillian Flynn novel. This one is called Dark Places. it's about Libby Day when she was 7. Her mom and her 2 sisters were murdered in what's called the Satan Sacrifice of Kanaki, Kansas. She survived and testified that her brother was the one that murdered them. But yeah. And basically years later, the Kill Club comes to Libby and tries to get information out of her to try to set her brother free. So, the only other book I have by Gillian Flynn is Gone Girl, but I've heard amazing things about Gillian's writing. The next book I have is called Lily White by Suzanne Isaac. This always got me a little confused. And Lily White is a criminal defense lawyer practicing on Long Island. Her life drifts Norman Torkelson, a career con man charged with strangling to death his latest mark. And like all the evidence points to him, but then Lily starts having doubts and looks into the matter further. Can you tell I kind of like murder mystery kind of things? The next book I have is another Stephen King, so I guess I was wrong about being all done with Stephen King in this haul, and it's called Revival. Another one that's set in Maine. It says the new minister came to Harlow, Maine when Jamie Morton was a boy doing a battle with his toy army men on the front lawn. The young Reverend Charles Jacobs and his beautiful wife brought new life to the local church and captivated their congregation. But with Jamie, he shares a secret deception, a draught so powerful it would have profound consequences. 5 decades after the shattering tragedy that turned the preacher against God, and long after his final scathing sermon, now Jamie, a nomadic rock guitarist hooked on heroin, meets Charles Jacobs again, and when their bond becomes a pact beyond even the devil's devising, Jamie discovers that revival has many meanings. Stephen King's darkly electrifying novel of faith, fanaticism, and addiction races to an ending that stuns like lightning. Very excited about this one. The next book I have is another classic. It's The Count of Monte Cristo. I don't know anything about it. I just know it's a classic. I want to read all the classics. It says Edmond Dantes has a perfect life. He is engaged to a beautiful woman and has just been named captain of his ship. But when 3 jealous friends conspire to destroy him, Dantes is locked away for life in the infamous Chateau d'If. In prison, Dante learns of an island where vast treasure is hidden. He plots a daring escape, then uses the treasure to transform himself into the Count of Monte Cristo. Equipped with power, wealth, and disguise, he seeks out his enemies. Nothing can stand between the Count and his obsession. Revenge. So really, really excited about that. That just sounds so good. Next book I have is The Swimmer by Joe Quim Zander. So far, all of these have been from Goodwill, with the exception of The Count of Monte Cristo. That was from my local library. Again, I know nothing about it. I almost said the packaging again. The cover drew me in. So it's about an American spy from the early 1980s that abandons his newborn child to an uncertain fate. And then they jump ahead to 30 years later. So I'm sure the child will come back into that somehow. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't have been mentioned. So, intrigued by that. I got another Kristen Hanna book. This one's Firefly Lane. This is my favorite Kristen Hanna book of all time. So it's basically about these 2 girls that become best friends. I forget if it's middle school or high school. I want middle school, because 8th grade. And they are literally best friends forever, and they go through a lot together, and like it goes through like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and I want to say the early 2000s as well. And they just go through life together. One ends up having kids, and the other one, you know, doesn't. And it's basically about their story, their friendship, and it is literally my favorite book of Kristen Hanna's. I first read it when my mom lent it to me, and I literally destroyed her copy and gave it back to her, and she was like, dude, you destroyed this book. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It was that good. So I was so happy to see a copy at Goodwill, and I got my hands on it. Hey, another Stephen King book. This one is called Insomnia. I got it quite destroyed. Like the whole, I don't know if you can see that, but the whole cover came off. The whole binding came off. And I literally gorilla glued it back together. Basically, it's about a guy named Ralph Roberts who used to be an ordinary guy until insomnia robbed him of his sleep. This is also based in Derry, Maine. But now, because he doesn't sleep, all he can see is horrible things happening to people, and I'm sure that doesn't help with the insomnia. The next book, Handle with Care by Jodi Picoult, also a Goodwill finding. I literally just collect Jodi Picoult books, as well as Kristen Hanna books, as well as Stephen King books, as well as Nicholas Sparks books, but that's okay. So really excited about that. And then another Kristen Hanna I got, it's called Distant Shores. It says Elizabeth and Jackson Shore married young, raised 2 daughters, and weathered the storms of youth as they built a family. From a distance, their lives look picture perfect, but after the girls leave home, Jack and Elizabeth quietly drift apart. When Jack accepts a wonderful new job, Elizabeth puts her own needs aside to follow him across the country. Then tragedy turns. Elizabeth's world is upside down. In the aftermath, she questions everything about her life, her choices, her marriage, even her long-forgotten dreams. In a daring move that shocks her husband, friends, and daughter, she lets go of the woman she has become and reaches out for the woman she wants to be. I think that's awesome. I am definitely all for women empowerment and for women finding out who they want to be, what they want to do in life, and all of that jazz. The next book is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I've heard a lot of good things about this, to be honest. It's basically about 4 people that go to an ugly, abandoned old mansion. And obviously it's haunted, and they deal with the repercussions of a haunted house. So, excited about that. Another Nicholas Sparks, guys. This one is called The Rescue. It's about a volunteer fireman. Taylor McAdden is driven to take terrifying heroic risks to save lives, but there's one leap into the unknown he can't bring himself to make. He can't fall in love. Obviously, he ends up finding someone that he falls in love with, so really excited to read this. I'm a sap. I like murder mysteries. I like the unknown, but I also love stories. Then I also have The Crucible by Arthur Miller. Obviously, Amish. This is based off of... The Witch Hunt and Trials in the 17th Century Salem, Massachusetts. I picked so many books that are based in New England. It's not even funny. Okay, so that just got me even more excited for that. I just looked at the cover, and the cover drew me in. That was another cover drew me in. Another Jodi Picoult. This one's 19 minutes. If I remember correctly, this is about a shooting, right? In New Hampshire? Yeah, it's about like a mass shooting in a school. So, excited to read that. Well, not really excited, especially what's going on nowadays. We literally just had 2 mass shootings back to back, but like, Jodi Picoult. Gotta love her. The next book I have is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This is obviously about two kids that, no, it's, two kids, one kid? Yeah, okay. So it's two kids that have cancer that fall in love. Very, very similar to, what's the one I read? 5 Feet Apart. Just two different diagnoses. 5 Feet Apart was cystic fibrosis. And this one is cancer. So, really excited about that. How many more do I got? Oh, I still got like a good chunk. So I got another Stephen King book here. Shocker. The Green Mile. My husband has read this one. Okay? If my husband's read a book and he recommends it, I gotta read it. That's all I'm saying about that one. I also got The Gunslinger, which is the Dark Tower book number 1 in the series. I know nothing about the series other than The Gunslinger was like one of Stephen King's first books, and this one does actually come with like some illustrations, so I'm very, very excited to read that. I also got the second one in that, and it's called The Drawing of Three. So, really excited. And then I got a book called Sky Key, an endgame novel. So, yeah. Basically on this back it says, read the book, find the clues, solve the puzzle, endgame is real, endgame has started. And that was enough to draw me in, and I was like, yes, you're mine. I actually got that one at Dollar Tree. Fun fact. So I finally got the last book in the, it's not the last book, but it's the last book that I needed of the Da Vinci Code series. So yeah, excited to read it. This is called The Lost Symbol, if I remember correctly. This is like the third one? Let's find out. Yeah. I think this is the third one. So, very, very excited about that. And then the last book I have in this haul is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Again, a classic. I'm just trying to read all of the classics. It's the story of an orphan, Pip, and the mysterious fortune which falls into his lap, his snobbish rejection of his old friends, and his growth through pain and mishap into true maturity is the basis for a story where violence and guilt jostle with sharp and grotesque comedy from the moment of the child's Pip meets Magwitch, the convict on the eerie Kent marshes, to the last encounter with Estella, the beautiful, heartless woman who was so fruitlessly haunted Pip's emotions. The reader is sucked into a drama whose moral and psychological intensity never slackens. So, really excited about that. But that's all the books I have this time around! So that was another 30-minute book haul. Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to end it here. I'm not going to drag this out much longer. I love you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this book haul. And I can't wait to read all of these books, dude. But like, I'm still working on my TBR from June. Whoops. Life has just been crazy. So I haven't had much time to read, but I'm hoping I get back into it. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.